Hello, sweetheart. If you're in your 70s or even approaching the and sometimes wonder, is this as good as it gets? You're not alone. But what if I told you that happiness hasn't passed you by? That joy is not something of the past, but something you can choose, nurture, and feel every single day without needing perfect health, a full bank account, or a house filled with guests. Today I'm sharing 12 beautiful, simple daily habits practiced by the happiest women I know. Some are friends, some are neighbors, and one of them, she's the woman I see in the mirror each morning. These are not lofty goals. They're tiny shifts, little rituals, thoughts, and choices that will surprise you with their power. So pour yourself a warm cup of tea, settle into your coziest chair, and let's have a heart-to-heart. Because it's never too late to live joyfully, and your next chapter might just be your brightest. What's the very first thought you have when you open your eyes? Is it about errands you forgot to do yesterday? A doctor's appointment? The ache in your knees? I used to wake up that way, rushed, worried, heavy. But something changed when I started this one tiny habit. And it's so simple, you might laugh. I began each morning with a single sentence of gratitude. Before my feet even hit the floor, I'd whisper to myself, "I'm grateful I woke up today." That's it. And the next day, it was something different. "I'm grateful for the sound of my cat purring beside me." Or, "I'm grateful for my warm bed and the sunshine sneaking through the blinds." It didn't seem like much at first. But here's what happened. Instead of starting the day feeling behind, I felt present. I felt rooted. I felt alive. And then I took it a step further. I got myself a little floral notebook at the drugstore. Nothing fancy. Just a place to jot down one line a day. Not a journal. Not a to-do list. Just one moment of thanks. It became my anchor, my morning ritual. One morning, after a rough night of sleep, I scribbled, "I'm grateful for my coffee maker." And honestly, that made me laugh. But it also made me look forward to my morning again. Why does this work? Scientists call it neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to change. When you start your day with gratitude, your brain begins looking for more good things. Over time, this rewires your focus. You don't ignore the hard stuff, but you also don't let it be the whole story. And for women like us, over 70, that shift matters. Because we've lived enough to know that life doesn't have to be perfect to be beautiful. We just have to notice it. So here's my gentle challenge for you. Tomorrow morning, before anything else, write one thing you're thankful for. Doesn't matter how small, doesn't matter if it repeats. Just one sentence. One breath of gratitude. Try it for a week, then come back and tell me how your mornings feel. Ready for the next habit? Let's talk about how to turn your mornings into something you look forward to, a ritual that feels like a soft hug from the inside out. If there's one thing that changed my entire day, every day, it was this. A quiet, gentle morning ritual that felt like a gift I gave myself. Not because I earned it, not because I deserved a reward, but simply because I'm alive. Let me take you back to a morning not long ago. I had woken up feeling stiff, tired, a little blue. You know those days when everything feels a little too quiet, a little too empty? I shuffled to the kitchen, made my tea, and something inside me whispered, "Just sit." So I did. I took that hot mug to my sunniest window, curled up in my favorite chair, the one with the floral cushion that's a bit too worn, and I just sat. No phone, no television, just steam rising, birds outside, and the slow rhythm of my own breath. That small moment, it became sacred. Now, every morning I return to that window, my tea in hand, my slippers soft, and for 10 peaceful minutes, I am not anyone's mother, sister, friend, or helper. I am simply me sipping, breathing, being. That's the power of a morning ritual. It tells your body, you are safe. It tells your mind, you are not behind. It tells your spirit, you matter. And here's the beautiful part: your ritual can be whatever you want it to be. For my friend Carla, it's stepping outside barefoot to feel the earth under her feet. For my neighbor Shirley, it's reading one psalm each morning. For others, it's stretching, watering plants, journaling, or even listening to music from their childhood. What matters is that it's intentional, not something you rush through, not multitasking, not background noise, but something for you, by you, to say, this is how I greet the day. Science supports this too. Studies show that a consistent morning routine, especially one that involves quiet, mindfulness, or even simple pleasure, reduces anxiety, improves focus, and elevates your overall mood for the entire day. Think about that you can shape the rest of your day just by how you begin it. So here's a loving invitation. Create your own morning ritual. Something small. Something yours. Maybe it's lighting a candle. Maybe it's 5 minutes with a devotional. Maybe it's sitting outside with your dog and watching the sunrise. Whatever you choose, protect it like you would any important appointment, because it is important. You are important. And if one morning doesn't go as planned, don't give up. Begin again tomorrow. That's the beauty of being older. We've learned that starting again is a strength, not a failure. So tomorrow, when you rise, don't just stumble into your day. Step into it, intentionally, lovingly, like it's the beginning of something beautiful. Ready for what comes next? Let's talk about the healing power of fresh air, sunshine, and why just 5 minutes outside can completely shift your spirit. Let me share a little truth with you. It took me until I was nearly 73 to understand that movement isn't about exercise, it's about joy. I used to think staying active meant I had to join a gym, follow a strict plan, or push through pain, and that's why I avoided it. Like many women, I thought, well, my joints hurt, my energy's low, I'll just take it easy today. But here's what I finally learned. The happiest women over 70 don't move to lose weight or get fit. They move to feel alive. For me, it started with music. One morning, while tidying the kitchen, an old Nat King Cole song came on the radio, and before I knew it, I was swaying. Not dancing exactly, just swaying. My hips moved a little, my shoulders loosened. I hummed along, and for those few minutes, I felt something lift. A kind of lightness. A smile I didn't even realize I'd been holding back. So I made a quiet decision. Every day, I would move in a way that made me feel good. Not guilty, not sore, but good. Some days, that means stretching my arms to the ceiling and gently rolling my neck while the kettle boils. Other days, it's walking the perimeter of my backyard slowly, barefoot when the grass is warm. On rainy days, I do a little kitchen tai chi, just slow, graceful movements while my soup simmers. It's not about breaking a sweat. It's about breaking the stillness. And here's the beautiful part. Science agrees. Gentle, consistent movement increases circulation, which keeps your legs and feet warm and mobile, boosts endorphins, natural mood lifters, supports balance and coordination so you're less likely to fall, and even helps sharpen memory and protect your brain as you age. Not bad for a few minutes of daily joy, right? I once read a study from the National Institute on Aging that said, just 10 minutes of light movement a day can add years of quality life. Not just longer life, better life. That's a trade I'll take any day. My friend Beverly, who just turned 80, swears by her hallway waltz. Each evening, she puts on classical music and dances from one end of her house to the other. She told me, "I may have gray hair and creaky knees, but honey, I can still twirl like nobody's business." And I believe her. The trick is finding what delights you. Maybe it's light gardening in the morning sun. Maybe it's a simple yoga video on YouTube. Maybe it's walking to the mailbox and then taking the long way back. Maybe, like me, it's dancing in your kitchen while the cat looks on, unimpressed. Whatever it is, let it be yours. Let it be fun. Let it be a little celebration of the body that's carried you through all these years. Because you deserve to move in ways that remind you how beautifully alive you still are. So here's my challenge. Today, move your body even just for 5 minutes with joy, not judgment. Dance, stretch, stroll, sway. Feel the life within you wake up again. Coming next, we'll explore a habit that's all about the heart and how just one kind word can lift your spirits for hours. Let's talk about something quietly powerful: connection. Not the kind that comes from busy parties or long phone calls, unless that's your thing. I mean small, warm moments of real connection, the kind that brighten your day and remind you that you belong in this world. Here's what I've discovered. The happiest women over 70 don't isolate. Even when they live alone, even when their social circles have changed, they choose connection in the smallest, gentlest ways. I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, I was feeling a little off. Nothing dramatic, just that low-level blah that sometimes shows up when the house is too quiet. Instead of retreating into myself, I picked up the phone and called my friend Carol. We didn't talk long, maybe 10 minutes. We chatted about her garden, my new teacup, and the way the hummingbirds were swarming her feeder. But when I hung up, I felt lifted, re-centered, lighter. And that's the magic of human connection. It doesn't have to be deep to be meaningful. It just has to be real. Because let's face it, loneliness can sneak in quietly. You might be surrounded by people and still feel alone. Or you might go all day without speaking to anyone and convince yourself, it's fine. I'm used to it. But your spirit knows. It knows the difference between solitude and isolation, between silence and disconnection. That's why happy women make connection a daily habit. Sometimes it's a wave to the neighbor walking her dog. Sometimes it's a smile and thank you to the woman bagging groceries. Sometimes it's a note tucked into your grandchild's lunchbox or a quick thinking of you text to a niece or cousin. And sometimes it's just listening, really listening to someone else, letting them share their joy or frustration, and being present. You see, connection isn't just about talking, it's about feeling seen. And science confirms this. Regular social interaction boosts serotonin, lowers blood pressure, reduces risk of depression, and even strengthens your immune system. Yes, your immune system. It's like your body says, "Oh, I'm not alone. Okay, I'll work better." I once heard a psychologist say that a single sincere conversation a day can be more healing than a bottle of pills. And I believe it. If you're not sure where to start, here's something I do. I keep a little list of people I want to reach out to, family, old friends, neighbors I haven't seen in a while. Each day I pick one, just one. I send a voice message. or an email, or I drop a card in the mail with a cheerful sticker. And you know what? It always comes back around. People remember. They respond. They light up. And that connection builds momentum. So, my sweet friend, here's your challenge today. Reach out. Make one connection. Text a neighbor. Call your cousin. Wave to someone. Smile. Ask, "How are you?" And really listen. It doesn't have to be long. It just has to be honest. Because we weren't meant to go through life alone. And joy, when shared, becomes so much sweeter. Up next, let's explore the magic of curiosity and why learning just one new thing a day can light your brain and heart on fire again. There's a quiet, joyful spark that lives inside every curious woman. You can spot her easily. She's the one who still asks questions, who still wonders how things work, who's always trying something new. And let me tell you something important. That spark doesn't fade with age. It grows if you let it. One of the most powerful daily habits I've embraced in my 70s is learning one new thing every single day. It doesn't have to be big. You don't need to sign up for a class or go back to school. Sometimes it's as simple as asking your grandson to show you how to send a voice message. Other times, it's finally figuring out what that mystery herb in your spice cabinet is really for. Hello, turmeric. The happiest women I know all share this trait. They never stop being students of life. They're not trying to stay young. They're staying engaged. I remember one afternoon when I asked my neighbor Margaret what she was up to. She smiled and said, "I'm learning Italian on my iPad." She was 82. Not because she had plans to visit Italy, but because she said she wanted to keep her brain on its toes. That simple phrase stuck with me. Keep your brain on its toes. What a beautiful way to live. Because here's what science shows us. When you learn something new, your brain actually creates new neural pathways. It's like building little bridges that keep your mind flexible and strong. Studies have shown that lifelong learners have better memory retention, sharper decision-making skills, and even a reduced risk of dementia. But beyond the science, there's a deeper joy here. Learning reconnects you with possibility. And after 70, when the world sometimes tries to shrink your options, that is a revolutionary act. Want a few ideas to start with? Read one page of a book you've never opened. Watch a 5-minute documentary on something random like how bees dance. Yes, they actually do. Ask a younger friend to teach you how to use a new app or feature on your phone. Try a new recipe, one with an ingredient you've never used before. Watch a YouTube tutorial on watercolor painting, chair yoga, or how to propagate a plant. Learn a new word in another language and try using it all day. The goal isn't mastery. It's movement, it's curiosity, and trust me, that mindset of exploration, it spills into everything else. When I started learning about herbal teas, I thought I'd just find a few flavors I liked. But before I knew it, I was growing lemon balm on my windowsill, journaling how each tea made me feel, and sharing samples with friends like I was running a tea boutique. Learning added sparkle to my days. So today, I invite you to join me in this habit. Ask yourself, what new thing can I learn today? It doesn't matter how small. It matters that you keep asking. Because every time you learn, you remind yourself and the world that life still has more to give. You're not done yet, not even close. And up next, we'll talk about something just as nourishing: how the way we eat and what we choose to savor can fuel joy from the inside out. Let's talk about something near and dear to every woman's heart: food. But not in the way you've heard 1,000 times before. Not about dieting, not about restriction, and certainly not about guilt. No, this is about nourishing your body with love, feeding yourself like you're someone you deeply care about, because you are. One of the most joyful habits I picked up in my 70s is approaching meals as moments of kindness, not just survival. I started asking myself, what would feel good in my body today? And not just what should I eat, but how do I want to enjoy this moment? Gone are the days of scarfing something down while distracted. These days, I turn meals into rituals. A fresh bowl of fruit in the morning, arranged like a rainbow. A warm homemade soup at lunch, with jazz playing in the background. And dinner? That's candlelight time, even if I'm dining solo. Because here's what I've learned. Joyful eating brings joyful energy. And no, it doesn't mean perfection. I still indulge in a little square of dark chocolate after dinner. I still bake my famous peach cobbler when my granddaughter visits. The difference is, I eat those things with intention, not as a consolation, not out of boredom, but because they bring delight. Let's be honest. Food has a powerful emotional role. It connects us to memories, to comfort, to culture. It's one of the oldest love languages. So instead of treating it like the enemy, we can turn it into one of our greatest allies. What does that look like in practice? It looks like choosing colorful foods, berries, greens, vibrant orange sweet potatoes. It means keeping your body hydrated, starting the day with lemon water, sipping herbal teas throughout. It means savoring each bite, even if it's something simple like peanut butter toast. And yes, it means cutting back on the things that make you feel sluggish or foggy, not because you have to, but because you want to feel good. There's even science behind this. Studies have shown that mindful eating, slowing down, appreciating flavors, being present leads to improved digestion, better nutrient absorption, and even more joy during and after your meals. You're not eating to shrink yourself. You're eating to support yourself. And when you nourish your body with that mindset, not, I need to fix something, but I want to care for myself, your entire relationship with food changes. One of my friends, Carol, told me that she started plating her meals with the same attention she used when hosting dinner parties in her 40s, just for herself. And she said, "It makes me feel like I'm worth the effort." You know what I told her? You absolutely are. So here's my gentle challenge to you. Today, prepare just one meal, like it's a gift. Set the table. Use your favorite mug. Sit down, savor, because food isn't just about fueling your body, it's about feeding your soul. And once you get the hang of this habit, you'll find that every meal becomes a moment of joy, a celebration of life itself. Now, are you ready for the next beautiful habit? We're about to explore something magical. The quiet power of small acts of kindness, and how giving a little can bring so much more in return. If there's one lesson life has taught me over and over again, it's this. Kindness always comes back around. Not always immediately, not always in the way you expect, but when you move through the world with a generous heart, something inside you softens and your days become warmer, richer, and far more joyful. That's why happy women in their 70s don't wait for big opportunities to give back. They sprinkle kindness into their days like glitter, quiet, beautiful, and powerful. I remember one morning when I dropped a handwritten note in my neighbor's mailbox. Nothing fancy, just a few lines to say, "I saw your roses blooming, they made my day." Later that week, she knocked on my door with a slice of her famous lemon cake, smiling ear to ear. Neither of us expected anything in return, and yet both of us received something we didn't know we needed: connection. Kindness doesn't have to be grand. It can be a smile to a stranger at the grocery store, letting someone go ahead of you in line, sending a funny video to your best friend just because, baking an extra muffin and bringing it to your doctor's office. Even something as small as saying, "I appreciate you," to a family member can shift their whole day and yours. Science backs this up. Studies show that acts of kindness release oxytocin, the love hormone, which lowers blood pressure and boosts overall happiness. In fact, doing something kind for someone else can lift your mood more than doing something for yourself. And here's something we often forget. You deserve your own kindness too. So many women I know are generous to others but harsh with themselves. They replay mistakes in their heads. They criticize their reflections in the mirror. They diminish their own accomplishments. But here's the truth. You are worthy of your own compassion. So why not include yourself in your daily acts of kindness? Speak gently to yourself in the mirror. Forgive yourself for something you've been holding on to. Write a note to your younger self, thanking her for getting you here. Or take a nap without guilt, because rest is a radical act of self-love. One of my favorite daily habits? Each morning I ask myself, who can I lift today? Sometimes it's someone else. Sometimes it's me. And both are equally important. You don't have to solve the world's problems. You just have to soften one corner of it. And that corner can start right in your kitchen, your garden, your heart. So, here's my invitation. Today, choose one tiny act of kindness, a call, a note, a compliment, a smile, and watch how it transforms your day. Because kindness isn't just about changing the world. It's about changing the energy in your own soul. Up next, we'll explore a habit that might be the most personal of all the gentle power of daily reflection, and how a few quiet minutes can shift your entire perspective. Life moves quickly, even when we're no longer rushing out the door for work or driving carpools. Somehow the days still blur together, mornings become evenings, weeks become seasons, and it's easy to wonder, where did all the time go? That's why truly happy women, over 70, develop a quiet habit that brings their lives into focus again. Daily reflection. I know it sounds simple, almost too simple, but this practice changed my life in ways I never expected. And it takes just 5 minutes. Here's how I do it. Each evening, before I turn off the lights, I sit in my favorite chair, the one by the window that catches the last light of day, and ask myself 3 questions. What made me smile today? What lesson did I learn? What moment do I want to remember? I don't write paragraphs. Sometimes I don't write at all. I just sit with the questions and let the answers come quietly. One evening, my moment to remember was as small as the sound of my granddaughter's laugh over the phone. Another time, it was the way the sunset turned the living room walls gold. And sometimes I jot down a little reminder like, you handled that conversation better than you thought you would. And you know what happens when I do this consistently? I stop chasing the perfect day. I stop dwelling on the parts that didn't go as planned. Instead, I begin to notice the beauty in the messy, ordinary, imperfect moments that make life real. There's a special kind of peace that comes when you pause to honor your own experience. Not compare it, not fix it, just honor it. Science supports this too. Reflective practices have been shown to reduce anxiety, increase gratitude, improve memory and cognitive function, and even strengthen emotional resilience. But more than that, reflection gives you back your life, not the life someone else thinks you should have. Your life. With all its laughter, its losses, its quiet wins, and small joys. You begin to see how far you've come. You notice how much you've grown. And you realize that even in seasons of uncertainty there is meaning. there is purpose. Here's something beautiful. Reflection isn't about regret. It's about recognition. You recognize the ways you've shown up, even when it was hard. You recognize the light that still lives in your days, even the difficult ones. So tonight, I invite you to take 5 minutes, just 5, and reflect. Maybe you'll write. Maybe you'll whisper to the stars outside your window. Maybe you'll simply breathe. Whatever you choose, know this. Every time you pause to honor your life, you're not just remembering, you're reclaiming your story. And tomorrow, you'll step into the day more grounded, more grateful, and more you than ever before. Up next, let's talk about something that might seem small, but has an enormous impact: surrounding yourself with beauty, and why it's so much more than decoration. Beauty. Such a simple word, and yet, for many women over 70, it becomes one of the most powerful tools for healing, comfort, and happiness. Now, I don't mean magazine cover, picture-perfect beauty, not luxury furniture or designer clothes. I'm talking about the kind of beauty that makes you breathe easier the moment you see it. The kind that wraps around your heart like a soft blanket. The kind that reminds you, I belong here. This is my space. That's the kind of beauty I've come to treasure and create. For me, it started with a single flower. Years ago, I picked a small purple bloom from my backyard and placed it in a tiny glass on my kitchen table. It wasn't a fancy bouquet, just one stem, but that one flower shifted the whole energy of the room. It turned a normal morning into something quietly sacred. That's when I realized beauty doesn't require effort. It only requires intention. Happy women over 70 know this. That's why they surround themselves with small touches that lift the spirit: fresh linens, soft lighting, a candle flickering in the evening, a cherished photograph of a loved one, a colorful painting from a local market, even the way a scarf drapes across the back of a chair. It's not about impressing anyone. It's about honoring yourself with spaces that make you feel safe, seen, and joyful. You see, when your surroundings reflect your inner peace, everything in life feels a little bit lighter. And there's science to back it up. Studies show that beauty in your environment lowers cortisol, your stress hormone, improves sleep, increases creativity, and enhances overall emotional well-being. But even more than the science, there's the feeling. The feeling of lighting a candle in the quiet of dusk. The feeling of opening the curtains and letting the sun pour in. The feeling of placing a little bowl of seashells on your table shells you collected with your grandchildren one summer afternoon. These tiny moments of beauty become your daily reminders that life is still blooming all around you. That joy doesn't only belong to the young. That you, in all your wisdom and softness, deserve a space that mirrors the richness of your soul. And if you don't know where to start, here's what I suggest. Add one living thing to your space: a flower, a plant, even a bowl of fruit. Tidy one corner of your home that makes you feel overwhelmed. Hang up one image that brings you peace: a nature scene, a smiling face, a memory you adore. Or simply open the window and let the breeze move through your curtains. Beauty doesn't have to cost a thing. Sometimes, it's just the way you choose to see your world. So today I challenge you, create one pocket of beauty in your home, a little altar of peace, a tiny celebration of your life, just as it is. Because when you surround yourself with beauty, you're not just decorating, you're declaring, I am still here, and this life is still worth savoring. Up next, let's talk about something deeply important: recognizing your own victories and learning how to truly celebrate all you've accomplished. Here's a truth that many women forget, especially after 70. You've already done so much. But we often overlook our own accomplishments. We brush them off, downplay them, or tell ourselves they don't count because they weren't flashy, public, or career-defining. But let me tell you something. They count, all of them. From raising children to holding your family together through hard times. From being a loyal friend to cooking countless meals with love. From surviving grief to showing up every single day, your life is a masterpiece of quiet courage, and it deserves to be celebrated. One of the habits that truly happy women over 70 embrace is this. They pause to honor what they've done, not what they haven't. They choose to look at their past with pride, not regret, with gratitude, not guilt, with reverence for all they've carried and all they still are. I started doing this in a small way. I created what I call a victory shelf. It's just a small shelf in my living room where I keep reminders of the chapters I'm proud of. A photograph of my children when they were young. A ribbon from a 5K walk I completed after turning 68. A little note my granddaughter wrote to me that says, "You're the strongest woman I know." When I walk by that shelf, I smile. I remember that my life has been rich, not because of money or awards, but because of the love, persistence, and integrity I've lived it with. You don't have to make a shelf like mine, but I do encourage you to take time to reflect on what you've overcome, what you've built, the ways you've grown. Here are a few simple ways to celebrate your accomplishments. Write yourself a letter. Yes, really. Write to yourself from the perspective of a dear friend, listing all the things you admire and are proud of. Start a proud moments journal. Jot down small and big victories. I comforted my friend during her hard week. I made a healthy meal. I laughed today. Tell your stories. Share your life's highlights with a friend, a child, or even just out loud to yourself. Let your voice bring those memories to life. Look through old photos, not with longing, but with celebration. Look at the strength in her eyes. That was me, and still is. Science tells us that this kind of reflection actually boosts serotonin and dopamine, those feel-good brain chemicals that support emotional wellness. It's not just feel-good fluff, it's neuroscience, backed happiness. And if you ever feel like what you've done isn't enough, I want you to remember this. You have lived through times that would have broken others. You have stayed soft in a world that can be hard. You have made people feel loved, and that is no small thing. So today, I invite you to celebrate one thing you've done, not 10, not a list, just one, and really let it land. Because when we begin to see our lives as valuable and beautiful, we send a message to every woman around us. You are enough, just as you are. And that kind of joy, the joy of self-honor, is contagious. Up next, let's talk about one of the best anti-aging secrets of all laughter and joy. If there's one thing that can instantly lift your spirit, soften your heart, and breathe new energy into your soul, it's laughter. It's free, it's healing, and it's a habit that the happiest women over 70 never let go of. You see, joy isn't something that only belongs to children or young people. It's not something that fades with age unless we let it. In fact, the older we get, the more we deserve to laugh, to feel light, to release the weight of the world, even for just a few moments each day. One woman I know, let's call her June, says that the key to her happiness in her 70s is simple. I laugh on purpose, not at people, not in denial of life's hard moments, but in celebration of the absurdity, the sweetness, and the wonder of being alive. Here's what laughter does for you. It lowers cortisol, the stress hormone that can weigh down your body and your mood. It boosts endorphins, the same feel-good chemicals your brain releases when you fall in love or take a brisk walk. It even supports your immune system, heart health, and memory. Yes, laughter really is medicine. But here's the thing. Joy isn't something you wait for. It's something you cultivate. You choose to laugh. You decide to look for the silly, the beautiful, the amusing, even in the mundane. So how do joyful women make laughter a habit? Let me share a few ways. Watch something funny intentionally. An old sitcom you love, a silly dog video, a classic comedy movie. Schedule it like medicine. Laugh with others. Call that friend who always makes you giggle. Reminisce about something ridiculous. Share an embarrassing story and laugh with yourself, not at yourself. Move your body in joyful ways. Put on music and dance like no one's watching. Even 2 minutes of gentle movement to a favorite tune can shift your mood entirely. Keep a joy jar. Each day, write down one thing that made you laugh or smile. Then, when you're having a heavy day, reach into the jar and remember the lightness waiting to return. And here's one of my favorite tricks. I keep a tiny notebook with the silliest things my grandchildren say. One line in particular always cracks me up. "Grandma, you're old, but your jokes are young." I laughed for 10 minutes the first time I read that, and I still laugh now. Because joy, like that, never gets old. More than anything, laughter is a sign of resilience. It says, "I've seen the hard stuff, and I'm still choosing light." So, if you've been carrying the weight of too much seriousness, too much grief, or too much busyness, consider this your permission to set it down, to let yourself laugh, to be goofy, to feel silly, to smile at strangers, to snort when something's funny, to not take yourself too seriously, because when you laugh, your spirit expands. And when your spirit expands, your whole life feels lighter. So today, I challenge you, do one thing that brings you joy, not because it's productive, not because it checks a box, but because it makes you feel alive. And when you do, when you prioritize joy, you give others permission to do the same. Why? You become a lighthouse. A reminder that no matter our age, our joy still matters. And there you have it, 12 daily habits that joyful women over 70 use to live with purpose, peace, and sparkle. But now I'd love to hear from you. Which habit spoke to your heart the most? Was it morning gratitude? Stepping outside? Learning something new? Or maybe giving yourself the freedom to laugh again? Drop a comment below. Let's inspire each other. And if this message lifted your spirit, tap that like button so more wonderful women like you can find these words. Be sure to subscribe for more weekly encouragement on living your best life at any age. Share this video with a friend who needs a reminder. It's never too late to feel happy, grounded, and whole. And don't forget to join my free Savvy Senior newsletter. The link is in the description. I share weekly notes, uplifting stories, and gentle challenges to keep you blooming. Thank you for spending this time with me. Stay joyful, stay grateful, and always remember, your light still matters.